Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Vedic Life Coaching. Thank you so much for joining me and Christina Linard. We have with us the author of the Vedic Astrology North Indian Style Chart Journal. And I am going to start using this, Christina. I'm so excited. It's too beautiful to, you know, but that's what it's there for. I'm meant to use this to fill it in and there we go. There's some pages here. But what I love most, I'll tell you something. The introduction is really outstanding, and it basically teaches you all of Vedic astrology. Well, not all of it, but a lot of it, right?
It's a quick guide.
Yeah, the summary is here, and I have been reaching for this. This is up here on my shelf. Every now and then I just pull it out, and if I want to look something up quickly, this is right here. So it's absolutely
Good.
brilliant. I'll
Good. That's
also put
exactly
up
what I had it for. So that's awesome.
Excellent. That's so good. And I'm also going to put up on the screen on top of the video here just a grab of your author profile page on Amazon because I was really impressed today to see, oh my gosh, you've launched a new book. You've got the 2025 Transit Outlook. Talk us through that a little bit. What's in there? That's something new.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a blog that I've been doing on and off for about a couple of years now, and I've coined it the transits in the sky, right? And I basically have created a book version of that. And so you could go to my website each month, and you can even sign up if you wanted to get it directly to your inbox. But it's just a blog, and every month I do the monthly transits, and I've
Brilliant.
decided to just package that up and put it in like a paperback and also include some transits and like the moon and the tithes and that sort of thing because when I was a beginner astrologer, I still am, but searching for that kind of thing online was really difficult unless you had software.
Yes.
So I went through my software and I pulled out all the dates and tried to format it really pretty in the book. And yeah, so that's available. And it's also as an ebook as well.
Amazing. That is such a service to people because to buy Vedic astrology software is such an investment. It's expensive, and people are very often looking for, just so all the transits are written. And have you defined a little bit what the transits are going to be like? Or
Yeah, so
yeah,
I did my own like personal interpretations,
yeah,
added in there, and it's really more of like a poetic look at the planets and the transits, and not to be taken literally. I think I even put that disclaimer in the introduction, but it's just something there to look at and think about and reflect on. But just having the transits there in front of you and knowing where the placements are.
yeah.
Um, and can inspire you to look further into it and how it aligns with your own chart.
Amazing. That is so good. Oh, wow. Well, I think I'm going to pick up a copy of that because, yeah, it would just be good to have. And I'm going to do that after because I want to sit and look at 2025 and I'll put some kind of thing on my YouTube just saying what my thoughts are. I tend to look at what other astrologers will say, after I've done my analysis. So, yeah, I'll check yours out afterwards. But why don't we go through the charts that we've got lined up here today? I'm so excited to take a look at this. We wanted to explore together the truth tellers of our time. And those of you who've seen the thumbnail for this video, you'll see that, we've got some pictures of some of the people that we're going to talk through. And we've got a handful of charts. We're going to do our best to dissect them, see, are these people really telling the truth or and why are they motivated to do this? And with astrology, we can look deeper. We can look deeper into someone. We can see, all right, what's their motivation to tell the truth? Are they telling the truth? What is it all about? So should we start with, I think the first one we've got here is Bill Hicks.
Yes, yes. Let me share my screen and I can get that pulled up. All right. Can you see it? I
I
can
can
see it.
indeed. David Icke. Let's
Okay.
start with David Icke.
Oh yeah. Oh well. See. Here we go. Bill Hicks.
Okay.
Okay. I was on the wrong tab.
Oh,
Here
that's
we
okay.
go.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can jump around. Oh, I love how you've got his picture there behind the chart there.
Yeah.
That looks cool.
Did some like some vector art.
Yeah, love it. And I
And
love that intense gaze of his. Where is this intensity coming from in the
I know,
chart?
right?
Can we see it? Can we see the intensity? What would you say? What placement?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely some of that Mars in the fourth house, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and a little bit of that Rahu in the 11th as well.
Yes, even a bit of Venus in Scorpio, maybe the Scorpio energy, the
Oh,
Scorpio
yes.
intensity.
Well, if you look here, we've got three Gandanta planets, so
Yeah,
that's a lot of intensity right there in the
absolutely.
fourth.
Absolutely. I remember doing a case study on him actually on the channel. And one of the things I learned when I studied his chart was, that massive impact there in the fourth house is what meant that he had to leave his home country and he found his success really abroad. That was one of the things I discovered that, and I think it's that fourth house, it's that power there in the fourth house. It's almost like a bullet to the fourth house drove him overseas kind of thing. That was one of the things I remember when
Yes, I can definitely see that. And it's the ruler Jupiter is joined with K2 there, so there's some karmic past life stuff going on there as well, especially in the fifth house.
absolutely. Well, it's so creative, wasn't he? I mean,
Hmm.
he was a comedian, he was a writer, speaker, comedian, but the truth teller aspect of him, where where is that in this chart?
So I was trying to think of what kind of combinations would do well for this truth teller archetype, if we want to call it that. And it's something that you and I have talked about before. It's you can't really pull up a chart and say, oh, they're a
Yeah,
good guy, they're a bad guy, right?
yeah, true.
It's really just looking at the placements and the energies and seeing what tendency is there, what's the potential for this person to want to speak the truth and in such a bold, courageous way, right? So I think of Mars. I think of Mars with courage. I think
Yes.
of a strong sun.
Yeah.
And I believe I've heard you talked about that, the like sun and the second house connection. And so things along that line,
Yeah.
we can definitely see that he has some strong Mars energy with all of that Gandanta sitting right there at the cusp between his third and fourth house.
Yes.
But I'd like to look at his second Lord, which is Venus, and that does go into the third. So that's kind of a classic signature of the voice going into what you're actually talking about, right? So the second house is speech, the third house is what you're speaking about. And so you can really see that there. And then in Scorpio, it gives me that kind of hidden secret, revealing some hidden truths there,
Absolutely.
uncovering.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's because Venus, they're lauded by Mars. Mars is also aspecting the moon, which is like sort of the courage. He had a fearless mind. He was able to
Yes.
just go on stage and it was the other thing I also get from Bill Hicks when I think about him is obsession. He had an obsessive personality as well, which I sometimes like to reflect on. And one of the ways that I see that is kind of, well, the moon in the seventh there. I sometimes think about that. But then moon is lauded by that Jupiter. We've got the Rahu being lauded by the moon. Rahu moon can be quite obsessive.
Yes. And he does have the Rahu fifth 5-9 aspects between Rahu and Ketu. He does have Rahu ninth from his moon. I'm sorry, fifth from his moon,
Yeah. Yes,
and
yes,
and in
exactly.
Cancer, in Cancer.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
ruling,
Cancer. It's lauded by
yeah.
moon. Yeah, it's obsessive. It's an obsessive moon because I always remember like when he was on stage, like doing his comedy, and he just the JFK thing, it's like he couldn't let it go. He just could not. It was like that, it was a big part of his routine. And it was, something that he couldn't let go, but rightly so, because he knows there's some lie. He knows that they're covering something up. He knows in his heart that there's something wrong there. And I'm also now
Yeah.
looking at all that energy in Mula Nakshatra.
That's what I was thinking. A
Yeah,
lot of that moolah.
the Mula, it's like the source. It's like he knows, he intuitively knows because the fourth house, we've got, subconscious mind, and we've got, he feels it. He knows there's something's not right here. It's that those three planets lighting up that
Yes. And
energetic connection back to source.
that's right. And like the fourth house, I think of what you're truly connected to, even if you don't share it with someone. So, right, the fourth house is opposite 10th. So
Yeah.
you've got that dynamic of your private and public life.
Yes.
And you can see that, and you can see where he's sharing those internal thoughts that he's having, and he's sharing that on the world stage in the 10th house, which is Gemini, right?
Yeah.
Very much about
Yes.
communication and
Yes. Yep. 10th Lord in the fourth there. So it's like, yeah, that career Lord. He made a career out of yeah, well, being connected to truth, or that being part of his art, because then you got the fourth house lorded by Jupiter seated in the fifth, and that's his art. Yeah, and it's like, well, that's like it's maybe from a past life. It's like because the Jupiter connected to Ketu there, it's like he had to come and do this work, turn that
yeah.
into his art.
Another thing that brings my attention here is, and we'll see this in a couple of other charts, is a debilitated Jupiter, which I
Yeah,
find really interesting. And I was trying to think about what that meant
yeah,
in terms of telling the truth. And I believe George Carlin also has
yeah.
it.
Let's take a look at
And
George Carlin.
I believe he does. Yep. And what came to mind was this, because both of these two men, they have a bit of a cynicism about them, right? A bit
Yes,
of a skepticism.
yes,
And I feel like that debilitated Jupiter gives a little bit of that disgruntled energy is,
yes,
yeah. So I thought that was really
absolutely.
interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, with the disgruntled energy, Jupiter, yes, lorded by Saturn, it's debilitated. It's one of the things I find with the Jupiter debilitated is these people are, well, now see, it's interesting looking at it in the chart of Bill Hicks and George Carlin, because when I think about Jupiter debilitated on its own and where I've seen it, the people can sometimes be quite materialistic, sometimes as a generalization. Um, but that's interesting. Here,
Yeah.
it's making
Yeah.
them cynical. Was it cynical, did you say?
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
word that, just because when you watch their comedy, they
Yes.
kind of come off as a bit, they're not trying to sugarcoat anything the way
Yeah.
they deliver their knowledge, their wisdom through their comedy. And so it's that was kind of what I was picking up on was this debilitated Jupiter. I thought that was interesting. It's if you were to look at that in a chart of, say, someone that is known to be deceptive and you saw a debilitated Jupiter, you would say, oh, let's pinpoint that. But
Yeah.
this is a case here where you can't do that. And
Yes.
that's why it's so important to, look at it in
Look
in
at the
all the
whole.
placements.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's so true. Yeah, I do like this reflecting on this Jupiter because it's debilitated, disgruntled, cynical. I love these words you're choosing here about Capricorn, the establishment.
Yep.
It's going to have a go at the establishment. It's going to be like, it's going to, yeah, point out the flaws of the establishment or set, reveal the truth. Yeah, that's so true. Point out what's wrong with the establishment. Absolutely. Oh,
I
this is
think that
great.
segues very
Yeah,
smoothly into the another chart. RFK Jr. also has the
fantastic.
debilitated Jupiter.
Let's
I'm
have a look
sorry,
at
no,
that.
no, he doesn't. That was never mind. I looked at that differently.
Okay.
But he does have a lot of energy in the Capricorn.
Oh, yeah, he does
Mhm.
indeed. And he's got Rahu there. Yeah, so maybe Rahu's doing some of that job that maybe Jupiter might like to do.
And I like to think of, okay, well, Jupiter may not be here, but this is where his Jupiter would be debilitated in
Yep,
his second house. So
absolutely.
it's looking at that, kind of second and third layer. Um,
Jupiter's aspecting, and
it
and
is.
it's lorded by Venus who's seated there. So it's actually kind of, yeah, that
Yeah.
this is interesting. It is like Jupiter's kind of in that house. Jupiter's energy is in there. Yeah. Oh, I like this
Yeah.
theory.
hmm
I came
That's
to
pretty cool.
this video today, very fresh. I haven't really looked at these charts, so this is great because and yeah, moments like this, that's where astrology is so fascinating. It's in the now as we read, just things come
It
up.
is. I took some notes and quickly forgot all of them when I
Yeah.
looked back at the charts again. I'm like, what was I seeing? Because
Yes.
you have to kind of get in the moment and
Yes. Yes. It's that thing where this is a tool that helps us connect in with the energies. So yeah. Yeah, I really like this theory about Jupiter in Capricorn. This is fantastic. That's a real insight there about Jupiter not being happy because when Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, it's wise, it's fatherly, it's quite noble, it's quite, these other kind of qualities. And when you look at like Bill Hicks and what's George Carlin, I mean, some of the comedy is pretty wild. It's like a professorial Jupiter, an exalted Jupiter wouldn't speak like how these blokes speak on stage, with some of the swearing and the outrageousness, like a professor, like you would never see a professor talk like,
mm-mm.
you know. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
like
both
it.
have that Cancer Capricorn line going.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly. That is important as well. So this is George Carlin and Bill Hicks.
Yeah, just kind of toggling
Yep.
between George and Bill.
Yeah,
They've
that's
got
very
that.
strong. Yeah, absolutely. That
So
line is
there's a
very
Jupiter
strong.
moon connection, Jupiter moon and debilitation.
Yeah.
And then interesting, we haven't picked up Candace's chart yet, but she has a moon in Capricorn. And
Yes, she does indeed. Yes, yes, yes. Wow. And it's what's lovely is well, there's a bit of Hemming here actually now that I look at
mm,
it with her moon, but it's got its own house. It's quite clear. I was going to say it's no, it is aspected by Mars. All right,
she has
interesting.
the Jupiter aspect as well. So there's
Yes,
that
she does
Jupiter trine.
indeed. Yeah, yeah. And that's quite the wisdom sort of thing coming through there. And an energized mind and a mind that's courageous to fight as well. It's yeah,
That's right.
similar
You'll
courage
see
to Bill Hicks.
with Candace's chart, because we're just dealing with the moon on
Yeah.
hers, I did take a look at her nakshatras, and what was interesting is her, let's see, she has moon in Dhanishta, which is ruled by Mars.
Yeah.
She has, and then she has the Mars in Mrigashira, which is ruled
Mm,
by Mars. So she has
yes,
a lot of Mars energy.
absolutely. That seeking impulse with Mugashira there, that's lovely.
hmm
Wow. Wow, she's got a Ketu in Maga as well. Interesting.
Yes,
She's very and an exalted sun. Like she is regal. She is so confident. Which is actually when I watch her on YouTube, I'm just like, wow, the confidence. It's like no one else kind of
that's
thing.
right.
It's pretty incredible.
Yep, she's got that there, the exalted sun. We'll see that a lot as well,
Yeah.
an exalted sun theme. And
Yeah, George Carlin's got one too. I'm
he
seeing that.
does. Yeah, and David Icke.
Oh,
hmm
yes, indeed. Oh, I'm such a fan. Love David Icke.
Yeah, let's take a look at
Yeah, let's have a
up
look at
close
him.
his. We've got him. Yeah, he's got the sun and Jupiter uh, in Aries with the exalted sun in the seventh, opposite is Mars. So again, a lot
Yes.
of that interacting with the courage and the truth and the knowledge in the sharing because we're dealing with the seventh house here.
Mhm.
And yep, K2 in the 11th. This is something that's, he's a master at sharing that with the world.
Yeah. Well, it's cut off on my iPad here, but is that another Ketu in Marga Nakshatra with David?
It
Oh, it
is.
is,
It
yeah.
is.
Wow. I have observed this with Ketu in
Mhm.
Marga people. They're young, so before 42, before 48, they are just they are so comfortable in top leadership roles. They are just so comfortable being seen, talking about the big stuff. Like there's a readiness with these people, a great confidence, huge confidence. And with David Icke, it was so necessary actually because of like the public humiliation that the guy had to face.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
really feel for him.
Yeah, I'm looking at that Saturn in the 12th.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah, that's the fifth,
wonderful.
fifth Lord. I look at the fifth house as the things that you love, your heart's desire, the things
Yep,
that you're passionate about.
yep,
And you can see he had Rahu in his fifth house where there's that obsession, right?
yes,
And obsession about the things that he's passionate about in
yep,
Aquarius. So
yep,
that's, sharing it with the people. And
yep,
then we've got that going into the 12th house. So you could see the losses that he's had to endure
yes,
in his journey of trying to speak his truth.
absolutely. Yeah. And that Saturn is lorded by Mercury, and Mercury is debilitated there. And the Mercury is like the um yeah, I guess the court jester or something. Like, I don't know, like it's debilitated, and I'm sort of seeing it in,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
I,
seeing it
I
there in the
wrote a
sixth, and like everyone just boom, they all just attacked him, and
yep,
everyone's like, oh, you're an idiot, like, it's just they really went for him, and yeah, that could be that's definitely Rahu, Saturn, Mercury. That's that story that right there.
yep.
Yeah,
Yep. And something else, we haven't looked at the ninth house, but he's got some ninth house energy, and that's also a theme that goes through these charts here. And he's got his a moon and Uranus. I didn't add the outer planets to all of
yeah,
the charts, but when I
yeah.
saw that it was a significant
Mm.
impact there, influence, that moon Uranus, he was all these innovative ideas.
Yes,
Um, comes across as being eccentric, and
yes,
you can really see that, but it's in his ninth house, the
yeah,
ninth house of truth, right? Telling the
yes,
truth. So
absolutely. And it's
very
interesting.
interesting.
His moon is lorded by Mercury there, which is showing me a writer. And another thing that's interesting is the Mercury is in the sixth alone. And at one time I heard someone say, now this one's a controversial thing, but I heard an astrologer one time say that never trust a person who's got Mercury alone in the house. And I remembered hearing that, and then I remember seeing David Icke's chart, and then I remember thinking, no, but I do trust David Icke. He's right. Like, yeah, and that made me doubt the astrologer. I was
Yes.
like, well, I don't know about this theory here.
Well, that's where the hard and fast rules, don't
Yeah,
always play. You have to
yeah,
look
they
because
don't.
I'm seeing his, the aspect of Saturn, right? So Saturn's opposition here, it could go either way. It can
Yeah,
make you
yeah,
cold and bitter
yeah.
and, withdrawn, or it can put the pressure on you and, give you the will almost to the discipline and responsibility to keep going. And that's something I have written down here about Mercury and the truth teller archetype, is that it gives you that ability to have discernment, to understand when um, when you're hearing falsehoods, right? To understand when you're
Mm,
hearing incorrect information.
yeah,
And it's just interesting to me that his is debilitated, yet so powerful in that way.
yes, yes. And also the D1 chart is representative of the physical path of the life. And when I look at him, because I've got it on my iPad here, I've got his D9 here, and I'm noticing there's, I think to me that's looking like an exchange between Jupiter and Mercury. Also, his moon is lorded by Jupiter. That does look like a Gaj moon to me. I mean, his internal self, he is telling the truth. This is a man who's telling the truth and he's giving wisdom. But it's like his life path, the physical path of his life is that, but the whole world's doubting it. So it's like, yeah, it's interesting. Because it's like to
Yes.
me, yeah, the birth chart is not as strongly indicated. Like the truth-telling stuff, I can really strongly see it in the D9. But D1, I'm seeing like the path um is throwing up challenges kind of thing.
Yeah, that sixth house energy. And
Yes.
I'm thinking too with his Mercury and Revity, I mean, that is his own sign there. Revity is ruled by Mercury.
Yes.
So that could be given some of that strength there. But also, I am looking at my software, and he has Vargotama Venus in Aries. So that means in
Yes.
yeah, in
Oh yeah,
his
it's everywhere, isn't it? It's
yeah.
D10,
So his
D9, yeah.
Lagna, his Lagna ascendant lord is Vargotama. So very very strong. That
Mm.
shows me just a lot of integrity, a lot of strong constitution
Yeah.
to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like it's a spiritual mission that he's been on with the Venus in Ashwini Nakshatra there. It's like a spiritual mission, um, Ashwini lorded by Ketu. Got Jupiter in Ashwini too. Wow. Oh, amazing. What I love about David Icke's chart, one of the things I was having a look just earlier today, I just had a little look at his transits, and also we can see here in the Mahadasha setup that 2031 onwards, he's going to have an exalted sun Mahadasha coming. And I'm really hoping that that's his time of celebration. People recognize him, people celebrate him. He deserves that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
his 11th Lord ruler. I think so, especially with Jupiter there and that his, in his strong Venus Lagna. I definitely see that.
yeah,
Hmm.
that would be a
That'll
really
be
good
good.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the Mahadasha listed here. This isn't complete, so I won't share it, but
Fantastic.
I'm building out these Dasha pages as
Oh,
well, so we can kind of
brilliant.
tie it together.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
it's
amazing.
very interesting.
That is amazing. Wow.
Yes, yes. So someone we haven't looked at yet is Julian
Wow.
Assange. Yeah.
Let's have a look.
So
Yeah, I studied him a bit.
yeah, he's had a big year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, what a year.
Yeah,
Free
so we're
man.
looking.
I hope like it continues. It will. I mean, they're not, I think he's very much free.
Yep. Yep. And you can see he's got the second Lord Jupiter in the first.
Yes, voice being a
Yep.
part of that. Yeah, speaking up is part of the life path. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
With Jupiter there, given that integrity. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Mercury there with Ketu. That Mercury, which is kind of on that, if we were to look at the layer underneath, it's on a Gandanta point.
Hmm.
And I do think that he's been, kind of locked up for 14 years. The Mercury Mahadasha is 17 years long, if you account for a bit of Dasha Sandhi on either side.
Yeah.
And
He's
then,
got that exalted Mars with Rahu, which
oh
is
yes,
really, really powerful.
that is, I love studying a Rahu Mars. Even well, if Mars is exalted, it's stunning. I think Elon Musk has this in the eighth, the Rahu exalted Mars in the eighth. I
Mhm.
think he has it, and but there are lots of people I've studied with just the Rahu Mars. I mean, the Mars could be even anywhere, but what I've seen with these people is they pursue Like they go for it. They are fearless in attack, verbal attack.
Yeah.
Like they have just no qualms about, I'm going to tell you you're wrong
Yeah.
or
They're not
whatever.
waiting around for someone
Yeah.
to tell them.
No.
They're
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
actively.
They're going in. They're just like, I'm gonna
And with
nail this
Julian,
person. Like,
and it matches up so well with him being a journalist. It's in its third house. Third house is naturally the house of communication and media.
yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, how extraordinary. And attacking the establishment, Capricorn is there. Um, yeah, an individual attacking the establishment is
Yep.
quite phenomenal.
And in his moon in the 12th there, you can
Yes.
see it all comes back. There's going to be some loss attached to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sharing his truth. It's ninth
Yes.
house. Cancer is the ninth house, so his ninth lord is in the 12th again.
Yes.
So you can see that.
Yeah,
Very cool.
absolutely. Yes, the isolation. Yeah, it's an amazing life path, what he's had to endure just for telling the truth, just for revealing truth.
Yeah, that's amazing. Sun and then sun in the eighth,
Yes,
uncovering.
yes, lighting up the secrets.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I was trying to see, I thought I had someone with a Mars Saturn opposition because that's something else I've noticed is that interaction between Mars and Saturn is almost that I cannot tell a lie. Um,
Interesting. I love that
yeah,
observation. Yeah,
yeah.
I read that in one of your notes earlier, and that was actually something I jotted down. Because sometimes when I've seen like a Mars Saturn opposition or a Mars Saturn conjunct, I've often thought that the person has trouble like speaking their emotions
Hmm.
is one of the ways I've seen that. And I've seen that operate in men, that they have trouble speaking their emotions, but this theory that you've got, I really like it. So it's Mars Saturn opposition, they have to tell the truth.
Hmm.
Yes. And that could be why sometimes some men might find it difficult to speak their emotions. Then I actually see that these two things work together.
Yeah, I can't find. I don't think I have it in a D1 chart. It must be in one of the divisional charts that I saw because I wrote it down.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
interesting. Well,
that's
Julian Assange does have Mars lorded by Saturn. I don't know if that qualifies.
yeah. There's definitely that connection.
Oh, Candace Owens has it, the
Ah,
opposition.
does she?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Yep. And not just
Mm.
in any sign, but in Gemini and Sagittarius, right? The signs of
Mm.
the ideas and our and
Yes,
our beliefs.
yes,
Yeah.
intellect. And yeah, and Mars really superbly placed there in the sixth, wanting to, yeah, ready to fight. Mars loves being in the sixth. Mars wants to fight.
Yep, that's the debater right there. You can
Yeah,
debate very
yes,
strongly.
yes.
Yep, and she's in a tight orb with the Rahu Ketu. So the Mars is fifth from Rahu,
Mm.
getting that aspect. So you can really see that obsession of being a fighter, right? To be
Yes,
to be courageous.
yes,
Very cool.
absolutely. She's reminding me of I studied one time a chart of a lawyer that defended Michael Jackson, and he had the Mars Ketu in the sixth. And that was really interesting because one of the things I've discovered when I've studied these people or consulted for them is that, like, you don't want to fight a Mars Ketu because they really know, uh, yeah, like what they're doing, and they're enormously skilled in battle is one of the things I've seen. And it's like if you can avoid going against a Mars, Mars Ketu, that's advisable. Um,
Yes, that is, yes, and that K2 is in its own sign, Maga. So
yeah.
that's mhm.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, lifetimes of, yeah, she's, well, that's that queenly regal thing, isn't it, that she's got
Hmm.
going on
She's
there.
also got the losses there when she speaks up and uses her voice. So you see if we're looking at from the moon, if we look at the house rulerships from the moon,
Yeah.
then her first and second lord go into the 12th. Saturn goes into the 12th. So you could see again where she's speaking and sharing her truth, sharing her voice
Mm.
will bring in some loss and some isolation.
Oh, yes.
Hmm.
Yes, definitely. Yes, absolutely. Position of that Saturn there. And it's also interesting that on her YouTube channel recently they demonetized her. So the
Yes,
losses are financial with that second lord in the 12th there.
that's it. Yep, you finished my sentence on that. That's where I was going. I
Yeah.
was like, what is the point I was trying to make?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, that is
yeah.
exactly right. And also, with she's a very spiritual person as well, and you see
Yes.
that Saturn in the 12th there in Sagittarius.
Ah,
So,
yes, 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 yes. It's interesting, her spirituality, that is interesting.
mhm.
Could also be that, oh, their moksha houses are beautifully lit. Oh, well, from the moon, though. We don't have
Yeah.
them time. Yeah, that's all
I
right.
tried to
From the
do a
moon.
little rectification, but it was intense. I couldn't quite pinpoint it.
Yeah,
There was a couple of things that I wanted to work out. I was like, but from the moon, it tells
yeah,
enough here,
yeah.
and you can see, that Jupiter Mercury connection. I've heard different things with Jupiter and Mercury because they are opposing planets
Yes,
and can create some agitation and frustration.
yes.
And so I think with hers seated in Taurus, in Venus, it kind of adds some,
Tension.
yeah, and but also adds like a little bit of the finesse to it, so it doesn't come
Mm.
across as being, angry or just unhinged. It comes
Mm.
across very concise
Yeah.
and yeah, with
And
meaning.
considered, like she's
Hmm.
considered all angles kind of thing. Maybe because like one of the things that I've seen with like a Jupiter Venus conjunction, it's interesting. A couple of the people here do have now. Where did I see it? Somebody else has got the Jupiter Venus. I think that was David Icke. Yeah,
Was
David
that?
Icke has got Jupiter Venus conjunction. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has, let's say, Jupiter lorded by Venus.
Hmm.
One of the things I see when there's like a Jupiter Venus together, the two counselors are together. So it's like they've got all angles considered.
Yep.
It's not great for love life, I have seen, but like for a mind that can see all the possibilities, I do find that to
Yeah.
be
I,
strong.
I kind of, the way you're describing that, it makes me think of how like they're having their own debate in their
Yeah,
head
yeah,
between this side, and they're working it out before they're sharing it with anyone else.
yes, exactly. Yes, definitely. Yeah,
Very cool.
that was where were we? Candace Owens. Whoops. Yeah. Oh no, I've lost all my charts. Ah, I am not good at
Uh,
this iPad thing. Gotta bring them
and
up.
then I had here, I thought we had some exalted Saturns
Mm.
in here.
Yes, where are the exalted sun? Oh, I love an exalted.
Okay,
And now
Edward
I'm
Snowden has one.
Snowden,
Okay. Yeah.
right?
So he had with his
Okay.
moon. And then also George Galloway. We haven't looked at him
No,
yet.
yeah, yeah, he's got one too. Yes. Oh, it's a
So
classic.
George's
You
have
know, I think
one.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has one. He's got one. Robert F.
Let's
Kennedy
see.
Jr. as well.
There he is.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yes. I love this placement. Absolutely love it. It's like, yeah, definitely don't debate an exalted Saturn because they know everything. They've got that big outer, they've seen it all. Like it's just Ah, love an exalted Saturn. So now where were we? Edward Snowden. Let's go back to him.
Okay, yes. Yes. So he's got the Saturn, and his is retrograde with the moon. And it's in his sixth house. So you can see where his mind and his responsibility is going into that house of the enemy. And you can see where he's had opposition there.
Yeah. Saturn moon is a classic. I've often thought like a Saturn moon is like has a charge on honesty. Like it's a real, you have to have an honest mind if moon has anything to do with Saturn.
It's very
So moon is
practical.
being aspected. Yeah, practical, absolutely.
You can see depression there as well, but
Yes.
that's the thing is that's something, only that person would know if they were depressed or not, but just looking at it, you can see the potential of it being, um, highly functioning or, going to the depressed route, I should say. But he's
Yes.
also, looking back at his second lord, I'm sorry, the first lord goes into the third, and he has his second lord in the first. So there's that second, third lord connection again with the ascendant. So a lot of speaking,
Yes.
communication, that sort of thing. And then K2's in his eighth.
Yeah. And in Mula, again, that
Yeah,
connection to source and that intuitive knowing that, hey, this isn't right, like what Bill Hicks had. And it's deep underground, undercover stuff. And I'm pretty sure, because I only just looked up Edward Snowden's details this afternoon. We've got here, yeah, intelligence contractor and whistleblower
hmm
who leaked classified documents revealing the existence of global surveillance programs.
yes. And I believe he's in hideaway right now. So he's out of the
Ah,
public eye. And you can also see, I'm just now realizing that Moon and Venus exchange
oh, yes, they do.
as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That third and
Yes.
sixth house.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that is
hmm
interesting.
And then his Sun and Mars in the second house. So the
Yeah,
voice,
yeah.
speech, we've got that truth element there. The Sun is his fourth lord, so fourth and the second, we've got that connection to what he really believes in his heart is what
Mm,
he's voicing out there. So you could see
absolutely.
that.
Yes. Yeah, how amazing. Jupiter in Scorpio. Again, a bit more of that. We've seen quite a bit of Scorpio through these charts.
Yes. A lot of
Scorpio in eighth
uncovering.
house has been quite
Yes.
a bit of a theme here as well. The revealing of secrets. Now we had that
Yep.
exalted Saturn there with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yes. And he's got the K2 and the 8.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yes, and that is interesting because when I remembered looking this up um a few episodes ago when I talked about his chart, his Ketu Mahadasha is when he was fighting the pharmaceutical companies. And I'm pretty sure it was like 2020 to 2023, because he's only just really entered. Yeah, so Venus Mahadasha,
hmm
I've got it here 2022. But let's have a look here. But it was that underground sort of work that he was doing, kind of taking on pharmaceuticals. He did a lot of webinars telling people, hey, if you don't want to take the thing, you don't have to take the thing, kind of thing. Like,
That's right. Well, he's got
and-
that Mars Saturn. So if Mars is his 12th house, because I was just looking at where that loss is, that pushback, that's a big speaking out against the,
yeah,
those big corporations like that, and
absolutely.
you can
Absolutely.
see that it's there's a lot of hidden information there that's being revealed.
Yes. Yes, that's interesting. And he might
Hmm.
have even wonder if this is an example of because when you mentioned like 12th Lord in the 11th, I don't know, I just had this flash of an idea that like 12th and the 11th, like did he make money from taking those pharmaceuticals companies to court? I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
the
That would
answer
be
to that, but
interesting.
yeah, because I'm looking at the 11th house of gains and I'm just sort of thinking, I'm not sure about that.
So yeah, I'm looking here. I'm like, well, I think an eighth house is other people's money as well.
Yeah.
So the eighth house, he's got that K2 in Cancer, the moon, it goes into the seventh. So yeah, other people's money through business, uh,
Mm,
relations, that kind of thing.
yeah.
Hmm. Very interesting. Yeah.
And so the exalted Saturn, I mean, the exalted Saturn alone is a real truth teller type thing. One of the ways I see exalted Saturn is that it's the judge archetype as well. Like
It,
it's,
yeah. And
yeah,
his is aspecting his ascendant and
yes,
his moon.
yes. Oh, yeah, there we go. The Saturn moon. Yeah, I always see that. I always see a Saturn moon as being a real honesty thing. But it doesn't mean that people, so sometimes if you have Saturn moon connection, like yeah, it's advisable. You really do have to tell the truth, but some don't, and they pay for it. I think with the Saturn moon, it's like Saturn will, I don't know, like
Like
I've got
instant karma.
yeah, kind of, yeah, yeah. So I've got Saturn moon. I can't, but then Louise Hay talks about this. She talks about that, like, when you're on the spiritual path, this could just be a thing of being on the spiritual path. And she says, when you're on the spiritual path and when you start doing that life, you tell one little lie and you get spanked big time. Like, it's,
That's right. You're in front of them, they're
yeah,
watching now. They're like, okay.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yes, I have seen that. And then who was our other? Did we have a George Galloway? I don't know if we've got him.
We do. I've got him pulled
Oh,
up.
cool. Oh, there we
Yeah.
go. Let's have a look. He's got the
Yeah.
exalted Saturn.
He's got the
Yeah.
exalted Saturn. He's got the moon ruled by Saturn.
Yes. Yes.
He's got the Mars, Rahu, and Sagittarius. K2
Yes.
Jupiter. I mean, he's kind of got a like a classic textbook chart if you were to pinpoint that. You can see all the placements here.
Yes. Absolutely.
Ascendant in Leo.
Yes. And he's also got, so this is a great chart. I'm actually looking at the time as well. This is a great chart to finish on because you're
Okay.
right, because it contains all the elements. It's that the courage, the Rahumas, the pursuit. We're going in fearlessly. The moon lorded by Saturn. This man will never tell a lie. We've got the judge archetype there with that big, you know, that Saturn, exalted Saturn. It's like he can see the whole thing. Now, Venus is one that I did want to ask about because on one of your notes that I read earlier today, it had something about a Sattvic Venus. And I wanted to ask you
Yes.
about that. What was that you mentioned? I read
Yeah,
it
so
somewhere.
that's just kind of looking at the gunas and where the planets are. And so Venus, is our planet of comfort and where we want to be happy and also where we compromise. And so having a Venus in a sattvic planet or a sattvic sign rather, such as Cancer or Sagittarius, those or it's like the highest version, the highest vibration of the Venus. And so there's this ability to not be brought down by the materialistic things of the world. So that was kind of my mindset of you don't worry about being hated on for telling the truth because your
Yeah.
happiness isn't relying on the Rajas and the Thomas of the other signs.
Yes.
It's yeah, so that's where it was. I don't know if I have any examples of that here.
Right.
I feel like I do because I
There was a
yeah,
Venus in Cancer. Let me just have a look
yeah. Well,
somewhere.
we have, I
Um,
mean, George,
mm.
all of that Cancer energy and then the Sagittarius energy. We see a lot of that.
With
Let's
George, I
see.
mean, he's got his Venus in the second house, but would you count second house as being Sattvic or?
No, and his
Mhm.
Venus is debilitated.
Yeah, it's debilitating. So it's very materialistic.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it is interesting when I watch him on his podcast. I mean, this is one of the things I love about him. I love how he dresses. I think he's very like I don't know, he's really stylish. Like you don't often see men
I mean,
putting
look at his
effort.
hat.
Yeah, the hat. He's always got the hat. It's always at an angle. There's always a bit of drama, a bit of style. Like he cares about the choice of tie and he goes for it. He's quite showy, I find. I think like for a man, usually men don't care too much, but like I find that with him, he cares. He puts a lot of effort
Mhm.
and yeah, I think it could be to do with this Venus. It's perhaps we could say it's a bit of a materialistic sort of a Venus that cares about
Yeah.
style.
Second house is your face as well,
Yes.
your head face. So
Yeah.
wanting
Yeah.
that to look good.
Very true.
Yeah.
And
Um,
and he's got another feminine planet in the seventh. So yeah, it's like he does put effort into that, which I think is actually really cool because you don't often see men caring about that sort of thing.
and another interesting mark here is his sun at 29 degrees Cancer.
Whoa, that is now is that a
Right there.
Gandanta?
Yeah,
That's
it's Gandanta, and then it's also right there with his Pluto
yes.
um, and ascendant that are just right outside the Gandanta points. But it's
Oh
still a
yeah.
very
Whoa.
and this line right here. Now I've been studying this a lot about the discovery of Pluto and the association with the nuclear family and that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
it's been really enlightening. And I've studied a lot about this Ashlesha Nakshatra,
Yes.
and it's all about the poisons
Yes.
of our mind, and it's detoxifying those poisons. But
Yeah.
also Cancer is that home life, that kind of conformity. You conform to the comforts, whereas Leo is all about expressive identity. And
Mm,
so seeing his son on that Gandanta line
yeah.
showing this, this some karma to deal with conforming versus expressing your identity. And especially
Mm,
with Pluto there, you can see that really transformative. I think RFK also has a real, yeah, look at his Pluto is also there. And it's on
oh,
that line
wow.
of
Yeah.
conformity and self-expression.
Wow. And that's very similar. That's like a 1 degree.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's almost exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is interesting.
Hmm.
Conformity versus self-expression. I'm going to write that down. Conformity.
Yeah, that's the whole the transforming of like the baby boomer generation and how they went into their teenage years and became young adults and basically revolted against what their parents had done in the whole nuclear family and all of those uh, kind of ideals that had been pushed on them. And so you can see that Pluto there. A
Um,
lot of them have was he's 54, yeah, 1954. So he's actually was born in the
right.
peak of the baby boomer generation. And so it was between about mid 1953 to 1954 where they all have a Gandanta Pluto. And
Wow.
so yeah, you can really see how that's played out over the years. But very transformative portion of the sky.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, it's so wonderful to chat with you about all these charts.
Yeah, this has been great.
Christina, yes, it's been so much fun. I'm just sort of looking at the time and thinking, oh, we have, I mean, we could chat for so much
There's
longer.
so much.
There's
Yes.
so much, yeah. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oh, let's see, I think you've got the share on. But what I want to do is I just want to hold up your book another time. I want people to check out your Amazon page
Thank
and
you.
get yourself a copy of this, or if not this one, then definitely the transit, the 2025 transits. That would be amazing if people would hop on there. And now is the transit, I think I saw it, was it a Kindle copy?
Yes, I think it's actually right now you can get it as part of the unlimited
Oh,
Kindle.
amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, that's
So,
really good.
hmm
That's really good. So yeah, I'll get one of those because but after because I want to look and like make a video and
don't
I'll
want to
put
plant
my
any seeds
yeah,
in
yeah,
your head. You're like, wait a minute, is
yeah.
that a... But that's
And,
okay.
I've had a little look actually at, there's that what I'm calling a traffic jam, sort of March, April type time, siren shifting signs. And I know a couple of commentators on the channel have made comments about it. They've said, hey, could you talk about that? We're worried about it. So I'm like, I did
Well,
have a look, but I don't know. Do we need to be worried here, or it's
well, I
looking
think
right to me?
yeah, well, something that I'm really learning is, astrology is all about observation, and you can take what they say over here in the book, but seeing it with your own eyes is really how you connect with
Yeah,
it. And I've seen some pileups, and I think it just, it shows just a lot of energy. It just shows
yeah,
a lot of energy, and there can be some confusion.
yeah,
I've had a few of those pileups in my first house, and
yeah.
just it's been um, just recently, like the eclipse and whatnot was in my first house, and so it's
Oh,
like, uh, yeah, you can see the energy, but I think the pileup shouldn't be concerned at all
yeah.
because it's really a buildup. You see them building up, so you kind of have a good idea of what's going to transpire once they're all together in the same house. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
amazing.
be scared.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, it's just good info, it gets us thinking about the future, it gets us planning, it gives us structure. It's good to have a map, but then create what we want as
That's
well
it.
and use our free will and
That's it. That's what's very important, even with the topic we were talking about today, the truth teller is that, ultimately
yes,
the free will is going to determine whether or not someone chooses to be
yeah,
truthful. And,
absolutely.
so you
Yeah.
could equally, we could equally pull up a bunch of charts of people that have been deceptive, and they'll have a
Yeah.
lot of the similar uh,
Yes,
uh, combinations and placements and dignities,
exactly.
right? So it's very
Yeah.
interesting.
I recently, I think it was on the Patreon, I did like a couple of charts, which was just showing Sean Combs and then showing Laura Ramoso, the
Hmm.
comedian. And I mean, one of these is quite dark and one of these is very light. They
Yep.
got very similar charts, very similar placements. So it's like, yeah, it does take discernment and skill and it's a great tool for reflection. That's what I often say as well that through
Oh,
astrology,
yes.
yeah,
Big time. Yes.
we can
And
reflect
just
that.
knowing where the transits are going to take place, in your natal house, if you know your natal positions, knowing the houses and where that activity is going to be is very helpful.
Yeah.
And you start to see when you follow it, you start to see your own patterns
Yes.
that take place in your life that may not match up with something that you read or see. So that's why it's really important to take the astrology, and especially the Vedic is really supportive with that. The Vedic astrology and the sidereal zodiac is that's something you can go outside and look up at the sky and it matches what is going on. So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, it's been such a joy to chat today,
Well,
Christina.
thank you for having me on. And,
Yeah.
I've been a viewer of your channel since oh, I don't know, 2017, I think.
Wow.
So,
That's almost the beginning. Wow. I think that was the beginning. I think, yeah, wow.
yeah.
Oh, thank you, Christina. Yeah, it's been amazing, and it's been great to see your journey as an astrologer, and now you're a published author. It's so exciting, and it's wow, it's yeah, I'm sure you'll well come again when as and
Thank you.
yeah, it'd be good to have you on again. I think I'm going to be quite busy with transit videos. I got quite a lot of client sessions on, but I would love to have you come on
I would
again.
love that. Yep.
Yeah,
Lots going on. Big
yeah,
year ahead. So,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is that kind of time of year where it's like I've got sort of some extra videos to do with like the yearly and things like that. But yeah, all
well, I
right.
will like if we can end it here, I will
Yeah,
bring up one more thing that I
yeah,
thought was very interesting.
yeah.
And it's I don't know if you have it for sale, but I do have your Stoic Vedic not
Oh,
Vedic, but your
yes,
Stoic
yes, yes.
tarot card
Paragraph.
deck.
Yeah, I know.
And when I'd finished up the notes for this video, and I was like, let me just pull a card. And what came flying out
Yeah.
was the Two of Swords. And
Wow.
let me just
Yeah.
read it. It says, because you have a Marcus uh,
Aurelius quote. Yeah.
Aurelius quote on
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
It says, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. So
Wow.
I thought
Oh,
that was like,
wow. Truth teller episode. That is
yes.
epic. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
Yes, these
I thought
cards
that was
don't
fun.
lie. They tell the truth. That, I tell you, that is something I am discovering with tarot. It's a powerful tool, as powerful as the sky. I mean, we can use the sky and we can shuffle cards in our hands, but they're doing a similar thing,
Hmm.
each system. I love them both. Yeah, they're really amazing.
Thank
Wow.
you. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Christina, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Swati.
being my guest, and see you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.